Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a step-by-step BIOS update. I got a request from a subscriber to have a BIOS update. Step by step. The target motherboard here is this ROG Strix Z790-F gaming Wi-Fi 2. This has a current BIOS update. If you go here to support, you go to drivers, go to BIOS, go to BIOS and firmware. What is happening? There you go. Now you go to, this is the new BIOS version, as you can see. This is just uploaded or a version of 2001, last May 19, 2025. This is an update for an Intel microcode to version 0 by 12F to further improve system conditions that may contribute to VMIN shift and stability in Intel 13th and 14th gen systems. All right. So without further ado, we download it. Click download. It will go up here. So when it's done, you double click it. Oh, sorry. Show in the folder. Double click it. Go in Explorer so it can unzip itself. Do a BIOS rename. Extract all. There you go. We have to extract it first. That's why I did that, because it's in a zip file. Do a BIOS renamer. Yeah, and hit continue. There you go. Now it has already been renamed to A5461. Now all we have to do is for you or for us to get a, USB uh, USB thumb drive. In my case, I already have it plugged here. If you have files in it, make sure it's formatted, or back up the file in your USB to another USB or your hard drive and conduct a quick format. I would suggest. There you go. So now your USB is already free, right? And clean. Now we go back to the downloads. There's a folder there, not the not the zip one, but the unzip one. We already have the file here, just to check. Right? You can either copy the file or go copy the entire folder. Right? And then go to the thumb drive, paste it there. And now you're ready for your BIOS update. Okay. In downloading your BIOS update file, just make sure that your motherboard's name or edition or model are the same as what you can see here from your, it should be the same as what you have. All right, just to make sure all these, like for example, I have a ROG Strix Z790-F gaming Wi-Fi 2. If your motherboard doesn't have the 2 here at the end, don't download it. That's not for you. You can go and go to the main page. If you're an Asus, if you have an Asus motherboard, then go to the official page of the motherboard and you go there. All right, just to make sure that you have the same motherboard brand model. All right. Okay. Now see you in the BIOS. Right. Now to go to the BIOS, all you have to do is just restart your computer. All right. Will now be directed to this UEFI BIOS utility. This is what you can see. All right. Now we go to tools and then go to ASUS EC Flash 3 utility if you have an ASUS motherboard, and then plug in your USB that you have earlier. You keep it plugged there if it's still there. Then go to the flash drive that you have, which is this one. All right. You have to locate it. Sometimes the name of the drive will not appear, so you have to look for the folder. So very important that you have that folder noted down. So when you go to the flash drive, and you can actually see the file size. Since I've inserted a 32 uh, gigabyte flash drive, so this is the 29323 here. Right? Should not go higher than 32. Then we go to the folder, select it. For some, you can use your mouse, but if you have a wireless mouse or like Bluetooth or some RF kind of mouse, sometimes it will not function during the BIOS update or the BIOS environment, right? So you can use, if your mouse is working, especially when it's wired, it will work like this. But if it's not, you can just use your arrow keys of your keyboard, right? Like what I'm doing right now. Okay, then you hit enter, then you click the, you look for the file. This is the file that we have renamed earlier. Okay, as it says, important notice, please back up your BitLocker recovery key and suspend BitLocker encryption in the operating system before updating your BIOS or ME firmware. In most cases, it's fine, especially if you're updated in the system. Okay, so just click yes, and it will prompt you to, if you want to read this file, of course, because that's our target. That's what we're here for. There. So it's again, it's showing us, if you really want to update the BIOS, because this is very critical. And again, I would like to remind everyone, before updating your BIOS, make sure that your power connection is stable. Or if you have a UPS plugged to your PSU of your, or power supply of your computer, that would be best. All right, because for any power fluctuations or power interruptions, we don't want to, for our motherboard to get bricked, because chances are you will not boot your BIOS up again. Right? Just that's very important thing. So if there's a storm, that's not a good idea. You know, to have your BIOS updated, because chances are power may fluctuate, and things can go wrong while updating your BIOS. It gets interrupted, then your motherboard can be bricked. Though there are some motherboards that you can still recover using its own BIOS update, even without a CPU. But that's a different topic. But for now, for the most common ones and the most common practice is just to make sure that your power supply is actually with on a good condition, and your power source is uninterrupted, all right, during the entire process. So again, it's asking us because we want to make sure that the model here of your motherboard is the same as the model here on the file that you're going to update it with. Right? Never mind the BIOS version here, because as I mentioned earlier, I already updated my BIOS to 2001. This is a video that's showing you how to do so. So this might be different because this can be seen as lower version, and this is the updated version, the one that we just downloaded earlier, right? And with all those things validated and taken note, all we have to do is click yes and let the computer or the motherboard read everything and do its thing, right? I'm not going to do shortcuts here. We'll just let things um, flow and happen. There, it will not tell you that the update was successful. And now we're back at the BIOS page, which means that we have successfully updated our BIOS to revision 2001, and the system is now asking us to do an F1, press F1. So now that we are back here, we're in the BIOS, we switch to advanced mode. There you can see all the frequencies, temperatures, and even your time are actually there. So we are all updated. Now we go to load optimize defaults. That's the first thing that you have to do, just to make sure that everything is actually on factory settings with all the devices that's installed in your computer. So once we've done that, we go to the AI tweaker. Make sure all Intel defaults are set because we do have a 14700K CPU. For 14700 Intel CPUs, especially with the K ones and the 14900K, these are known for high power. They are all high power CPUs, therefore they produce more heat than normal and than usual. Now, for us to have the full capacity of our memory, which is the DDR5, I have installed here a 4000, I mean 6400 megahertz. You can only see 4800 here. Now be able to see that, we will enable XMP. For here, we'll enable XMP1. Now you can see we are now at 6400 megahertz here. So we have now the correct timing for our installed DDR5 kit. Now we're checking. We have to disable or enforce all limits here. But you can always change that if you want to do overclock later on. But for now, we're doing the all Intel defaults at the moment. We're checking all system auto. We're just gonna show you things that I'm going to change With the VRM, we'll leave it at level 4 since this is an overclockable CPU. This is usually the recommended one for this board. Checking all CPU configuration. Now the VMX technology, we have to keep it enabled. This is for most antivirus programs that requires it to be enabled. So we'll keep that enabled. Now going back to the AI tweaker tab, I just want to make sure that everything has been checked here. Yeah, for this extreme overclock uh, tab here, of course we're not going to overclock now. I'm just showing you that you can also change the values of this. I have another video on how to undervolt your CPU. It's uh, perfectly safe and easy to set. This will help for CPUs. It will help you to lower down the temperature and the power consumption of your CPU, and it's perfectly safe to do so. But for now, we're not going to do that, so we're going to leave this as auto. I'm just showing you the values of the existing ones. We're not changing anything. Now for the PCI Express, as you can see, if you can see the X4 there, that means that it is detecting your system installed hard drives or any other PCIe that's installed there. If you don't know what generation your hardwares are, you can keep it on auto. But if you know, just put the actual generation. This can somehow help your system to boot up a bit faster. But this one, primary display, we put it on PEG because most of us are using the a discrete GPU. Now, if you don't have an iGPU, sorry, if you don't have a processor that doesn't have a built-in VGA, which in some cases the one with the suffix letter F, those are CPUs that doesn't have a built-in GPU, so no built-in graphics. So this one will not be enabled for those CPUs. But in my case, My version is a K 14700K, so I can enable it if I wanted to. Okay, for the other PCI Express, if you don't know, keep it auto. That's fine. But if you know exactly what generation is your hardware, this is basically the link up of two items. The one on the upper side is the M.2 underscore 1. That is my main hard drive, main SSD, which is usually directly under the CPU. So, and then this one is the PCI lane for your graphics card for your GPU. Right. We're checking other configurations and settings for those. We're just going to pass, for those items that we're not going to change. We did an optimal setting already earlier anyway. Here under ERP, I always put this at S4, S5 because this is sometimes what you can observe in your CPU if you did not enable this one, is that when you turn off your PC, some of your RGBs might still be on, hard drive might still be on and working. So yeah, it's always for me. It's my preference to keep it enabled, right? Just to make sure that switch off or powered off. When you say switch off and they're all powered off, right? That's when you shut down your computer. Nothing to change there. Fan speed, touch monitor for QR. Yep, you can use this one if you installed new coolers, fans, things like that. You can go and configure that. But for now, we don't need it because we just updated BIOS. Yep, for secure boot, just make sure OS type is under Windows UEFI mode. Make sure your Windows will from the hard drive will boot properly, and then secure boot put it on standard. With boot configuration, these are okay, but I have some preferences here as well. So you can pick up some of my preferences if you want, but it's okay if you don't have to. Fast boot meaning I'll just let the system run normally with all the checks that passes and the hardware checks before booting up. Boot logo display, I always choose disable so that I can see how the hardware read up displays on screen if I have errors or anything, and then I'll put like 9 seconds, of posting so that I can still react if ever there are errors or anything before you actually reboot or boot up directly to your Windows. But in most cases, you can just put everything on auto and you'll be fine. For setup mode, easy mode is usually the one for beginners, or if you don't want to really always change your settings. But I prefer advanced mode since we tweak a lot, you know, make sure settings are okay depending on preference and what new hardwares are installed. This we're just going to pass all of these. Now we can already save changes and reset. So as you can see here, these are all the items that we have changed from an optimal default setting, because these are for the targeted hardwares and some preferences that we have. All right. So complete checks and everything. These are all the settings we've done. And yeah, we are ready to save this all up and reboot. BIOS will automatically reboot, save all changes, and carry it on. Load it all up. So there you go. You have now successfully updated your BIOS and rebooted to Windows normally. Congratulations. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more quality videos and insights. Thank you. Have a good day.